live, laugh.
All right, how's it going, everybody? My name is Daniel.
I'm Christian.
We are joined by third-generation wrestler AJ Cazana. How are you doing today?
That's me. I am fantastic. How you boys doing?
Doing great, doing
Pretty
great. So today we are going to mostly be talking about Crystal Burger. So first question, you're going to walk into a Crystal Burger. What's that order looking like?
Man, you want my real order? Or you want the order that I'm going to tell you that I get so my trainer doesn't kick my teeth?
I'd love the real order, and we could edit.
Well,
we
I walk in. I don't even walk in. I'd go through the drive-through like a normal man. I think it's the number 5. It's like 5 cheese crystals with some chili cheese fries. That ain't enough to satiate my hunger, so I always get the pick 5. It used to be pick 5 for 5. I know they've gone up on their prices because of inflation and junk.
Yeah.
But the pick 5 with that, I get a couple spicy chicks, a couple chili cheese pups, and then usually that last one's kind of reserved for whatever it usually ends up being another chick.
Yeah.
So
that,
little number 5, the 5 cheese crystals, and then I'll pick 5.
Yeah.
And I'm up all night, dumping my brains out.
Yeah. Yeah, Crystal, that anytime my parents come to visit us, we're my dog is going crazy.
He just wants on the podcast.
Yeah. We just moved into a new apartment where he can see everything. So he runs from room to room chasing dogs, and it's not quite fully used to it. But yeah, my parents, me and my brother, we lived in like the Raleigh area, and we make them bring us Crystal Burgers every time they come down. So they got like the huge box that looks like like a suitcase full of burgers.
They do that sack full.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we went out to St. Louis, Missouri. I don't know if you guys have ever had White Castle.
No, but
I've
I'm aware.
heard about White Castle.
Those, like, we were at the Chase for 74 last year. I know, man, I can't tell you how many times we left the Chase. It's about a mile down the road. And, I mean, they've got cases, 30 to 40 of them, that literally look like suitcases. The ones from Crystals are typically in like a big giant box, but these are suitcases with handles. Yeah, we'd leave there every night with like 60 of those bad boys. 30 with cheese, 30 without cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, I can put down some Crystal Burgers.
What's that?
So I can put down some Crystal Burgers and Slaughters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a wrestling podcast sometimes. And what we're really going to try to do here is kind of get your origin story in wrestling and how your story of how where you are now. So where's that origin point? Like, what's your earliest memory of wrestling? And just kind of talk us through that.
My earliest memory of wrestling, I think I was 5. My dad was wrestling 5 or 6. I couldn't tell you the exact year. My dad was wrestling. I want to say Chilhowie Park, like the Jacobs building out there, but I could be completely wrong. But I was sitting in the crowd as me and my mom and one late great Mr. Fuji was in the crowd with us. And I was watching the match. It was my dad versus somebody, I guess a no DQ match. And eventually, they work their way out of the ring, and my dad gets cracked over the skull with a trash can. And up pops 5-year-old me, ready to go save my daddy's hind end. And Mr. Fuji grabs me by the back of my britches and pulls me back and sits me down and says, "We need to have a talk." So after the match, he said, "Your dad's fine. We just need to have a talk." So after the match, we go to the back and see Dad, and I'm like, "But he got hit in the head with the trash can." He's like, "Yeah, I heard a little bit, but I'm going to make it." And that was my first memory, I guess, of professional wrestling. In my life, at least.
Yeah. Is that like the birds and the bees talks for wrestling kids?
Oh, yeah. It was, hey, we need to have a talk.
Yeah. So when a wrestler and another wrestler really hate each other.
Sometimes people get hit in the head with trash cans. It's just part of life.
These things happen. I mean,
that was the original start, man. And then I'd go with my dad to shows and whatnot for the rest of his career that he was doing it pretty often. He was doing a lot of Knoxville stuff. I'm not going to put over the promotions he was working for because I could care less about them. They're all dead anyway. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But around Knoxville, Jellicoe Mountain, Morristown, I don't know. He never really traveled out of state where he took me. So we did a lot of that, and then I got to the point where wrestling just wasn't cool anymore.
Oh yeah.
My dad wasn't wrestling at that time, and it just wasn't cool. And so I stopped watching for a little while until probably like sophomore, junior year of high school. I started picking back into it. Got to the Christian Academy in Knoxville my senior year, and there was a guy there named James Logan, who was just beginning his coaching career. He graduated from CNK and whatnot, but he's just beginning his coaching career. And him and Rick Cannon, I don't know if that name rings a bell. Rick Cannon was one of my dad's really good friends in the Knoxville scene.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Cannon's son was actually graduated from CAK and was actually coaching with my buddy James.
Yeah.
So like James knew of Kendall Cannon and Rick Cannon, and then via I guess that he knew of Joe Cazana, and then he found out like that was my dad. So he kind of reignited the passion for wrestling a lot.
Yeah.
There, and then post graduation and whatnot, I ended up getting back to CAK to coach, and then me and James became lifelong friends. He's one of my best friends in this world, and Kendall's the same way. Like we all still talk and cut up, and like I think I'm actually gonna go get dinner with James and his wife tonight.
Nice.
But like he reignited my passion for wrestling as far as he introduced me to Cody Rhodes, which was the guy I guess that got me back into professional wrestling on a deeper scale. He ignited my love for it, just like Shawn Michaels used to back when I was 7-8 years old. So James is a big reason I got back into wrestling. And then I talked to my dad about it, whatever, and my dad started doing shows for my little brother's high school benefit shows, and then other people started picking up on some benefit shows, and then really where the bug took in, boys, is my dad's first retirement match. Because there's always one more.
Yeah.
That first retirement match, he asked me and my brother to get involved in the pre-show, pre-match, whatever hoopla, and my nerves, were all throughout my body. I got chill bumps. I'm ready to go. And I mean, just as soon as I stepped in the ring that day, it was game over. It was like that was the closest feeling I got to running through the Power T in Neyland Stadium in front of 100,000 people.
Yeah,
because those are highs that you always check. That's the bad thing about professional wrestling, and the bad thing about like college sports and stuff, where you hit these highs, and once it's over, you're never going to get it again. Like I know they've talked about, I don't have kids, but they talked about, the birth of your first child is a high that, will match any WrestleMania moment. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I don't know how. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
So it was hard to match running through the Power T.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to match wrestling in front of 1,000 to 2,000 people, screaming fans that I could talk to you like this in the ring and you could hear every word I'm saying, but they can't hear it. You know what I mean? Because they're just up for it. And so there's highs in professional wrestling and college football, of course, that you can't meet. And the closest thing I got to it was stepping foot through the ring, performing in front of crowds that you've got hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And that are just that hearing your name being chanted, hearing the country being chanted. Hell, I'm not a cowboy, but hearing cowboy be chanted. We don't call ourselves cowboys, but I went out to Utah and they're chanting cowboy. And I'm just like, well, they got something right. They saw the hats, I guess. So
yeah, that's awesome. I feel like my dad would be mad at me if I didn't ask about your Tennessee football. What were those teams that you were on?
I was only there in 2011 for one Derek Dooley.
Oh.
Spring, I went through a summer training camp, fall, had a pretty gnarly injury that I was like, maybe football ain't it.
Yeah.
But I did leave UT. My grades had dropped, brother. Let me tell you, the old AJ's been through some hard times. He's been through some good times, and with that I don't know if you'd necessarily, if you would identify it as either one of those, but I had a lot of times at UT where it's my first time away from home. It's my first time being on the brother, being on that football team meant everything in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Like I walked around with the starting quarterback, the starting offensive line, defensive tackles, all these guys that played in the NFL after their graduation and whatnot. You know, and you got these VFLs coming into town. I did a lot of drinking my freshman year.
Yeah.
I did a lot of not going to class. I did a lot of skipping class because I'd wake up at 6 a.m. every morning and I'd go to the training facility. I would see my I guess like I didn't have a set trainer, but I picked one and I was like, hey, you stretch my neck really good. Will you do this for me and tape my ankles? And so I'd get in there early. He'd tape my ankles. He'd stretch my neck before practice and then go get dressed. And by 7:30, we're doing our first walkthrough. It was 7 or 7:30. It's an offensive line walkthrough. So our coach would come grab us and we'd migrate like a bunch of cattle out to the side practice field or the locker room or the weight room. Even we've done walkthroughs in the weight room. We'd do a small walkthrough. We'd go to team meeting. The offense, defense all in the same room. Then they'd put the divider down. You'd go to your position meetings. And then you'd come back and you'd go to offensive meeting where it's the whole offensive staff. And then, if I'm not mistaken, we'd break off from there. We'd go do another walkthrough just with the offensive line.
Yeah.
And then you've got the team offense walkthrough and team defense is on the other side of the indoor facility. All this is before 10 o'clock. Right. So you're 9:30, 10 o'clock rolls around. Now we're going to practice. We're going out to the field, you know, shoulder pads, helmets on, going out, stretching, going through a full day, especially during the summer, man. We had 2 days during the summer.
Yeah.
And these kids have no idea. They want to talk about how hard their lives are. I thought 2 days were hard in high school. These were not easy.
I bet.
Because the first practice would be in shells, second practice would be in full pads. Then you come back the next morning, you go full pads, but shorts and just helmets in the evening. You know, and we always had loops with all our clothes, so they would wash them for us. So count my blessings there. But during fall, about 10 o'clock, man, we're in practice, and then we're practicing for 2 hours. And then the freshmen and the red shirts would stay after for an extra 30 minutes getting extra drills in outside.
Yeah.
So by the time I walked in, we were all given one Gatorade and like one banana before we go off to do class and whatnot. And by the time we're in, there's no Gatorades left. There's no bananas. They've already put them up.
Yeah.
And then I was seeing that I would go back to the training room, get my neck re-stretched, you know, and by that time, man, my first class was at 120. I wasn't making it to my class at 120 because I wasn't smart enough to take clothes to the locker room with me. And I'd always have to go back to my dorm to go. And by the time I get back to my dorm, I'm ready to just lay down.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Shoot, man. God, but and this is another thing. I make this joke all the time. I got drug tested. UT does drug tests. The university does drug tests like every 2 weeks. The SEC would come in and do it like quarterly or monthly. I can't remember. There would be some entity that would do it monthly.
Yeah.
And it may just be the University of Tennessee, like athletic department they would pick so many guys or girls from every team and they would do it. And then the NCAA would come in twice a year and do it. So the first 8 weeks of practice, I got drug tested 4 times. And that would always, you're dehydrated. You're only allowed to drink so much water and Gatorade before you go piss in a cup. And by the time I was drinking, this is a true story. I get done. I think it was the last time they drug tested me because I was like, look, you guys got to stop. Like, I don't know what you want from me, but you got to stop. I was like, I'm going to go shower. I'm going to drink water. And then we had canned Gatorades, which were the best. They sent somebody to the shower to make sure I didn't piss in the shower. I was like, how dumb do you think I am? Like, I know I've got to go piss in a cup. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it. I mean, I would do it all over again, as dumb as that sounds.
Yeah.
The University of Tennessee football program has been a part of my family since the early 90s. And since my uncle played there, and we bleed orange. We love football. We love Tennessee. And man, dude. But no, like running through that power tee.
I bet.
even if you didn't grow up a Tennessee fan, it's just the chills because that band's playing and they're playing Rocky Top, and then they split open and you just take off. And you've got 100,000 people all around you, and then it was a dream come true for me, and it was something I know I'll never be able to recreate.
Yeah, for sure.
Until I'm inevitably the world's heavyweight champion, and I call Coach Heupel and say, "Hey, look, dude, I'm running through the freaking tee, and you can't stop me. I'm a BFL at heart." So
that's awesome.
No, it was a good time.
Okay,
it was a good time.
Awesome.
Lots of I did a lot of drinking, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? Skip class. We all do it.
It's a college experience.
Yeah.
Well, and then NCAA football came out. What is it? I guess 12 came out. NCAA. Yeah. I've won national championships.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was telling Coach, I'm winning national championships left and right every day. Like, what do you want from me?
Were you in that game?
No, I was not. The next one that I think 13 that came out, I was on that roster, but
what was your rating? Do you remember?
No, probably like 62. I don't know, man. It was low. Nothing worth a dang.
At what point did you decide that you wanted to kind of follow in that footsteps? You stepped into the ring, and that was kind of like that feeling that you said is impossible to create. So where do you go from there?
Well, I trained with that. My dad had a training school at the time. Him and another guy by the name of Jerry Sampson, and they started this little training school in Decatur where we were running. They were running a show for Izzy Slapowitz. So they had a couple people coming in to train and whatnot, and I just went down and I would work out with Dad every once in a while and learn very little because I'm stubborn and bullheaded, as most people know. And he, I just, it's something about just not listening to your dad.
Yeah.
Right.
So, a couple of years go by and I'm doing that with him. I've worked a couple matches after that, but like, I don't know what happened or what the conversation was, but like Dr. Tom opened his school in 2019 and, I was like, I want to do this. Like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. Like, I want to go train with Doc. And my dad's like, oh, I mean, okay. And it just kind of hit about 2019 is when I put in for it. 2020 is when we went and trained in the secret COVID class. We don't tell anybody about our class. And my aunt was nice enough. My aunt had to cover the cost of the class for me.
Nice.
So which is a huge chunk. It's like, I don't have the money to go. And my dad's like, well, we don't have the money to give you. Yeah. And then I had the conversation with my aunt, and she's like, look, if you're serious about this, I don't mind giving you the money. She said, you won't have to pay it. Like, she told me I wouldn't have to pay it back. Won't have to do it. She said, but you just have to make sure that you go through this and you give it your absolute best. It's like, you don't quit, you don't do it. It's like, if I ever quit anything, that's a no. And that's, I'm not a quitter. Even if I hate stuff, I don't like quitting. Mm-hmm. And that's shows itself in some of the jobs I've had in the years where I've hated it, but I just refused to quit. But no, I went up and trained in 2020, 3 months in to the 12-week program. He's got a 12-week basic program. Mm-hmm. And then I just started hitting the roads, man. And it something happened and it clicked and it felt right. And I had a lot of fun doing it. So.
What was the biggest difference or adjustment from a football training perspective to the wrestling? Like, if I imagine there is one, and that might be a dumb question, but I'm just there has to be a jarring difference there.
The cardio. I mean, it's realistic. Like, football cardio was fairly easy, sprints, and you're just pushing yourself. Wrestling's weird, and I had been wrestling. I've been coaching wrestling at CAK at the time, so I'd had the experience of like, going 6 minutes and it being the absolute hardest 6 minute training of your life and whatnot. And that's like the in-ring cardio for professional wrestling is nuts. It's not something that anybody can just pick up and go do it and do it well. Yeah. And you see these guys, you think about the guys going 60 minutes back in the 80s, Harley and Ric Flair and those guys, Steamboat doing all the Ironman matches and whatnot. Like, and once you go through the training and you realize how hard the cardio actually is, mm-hmm. then you get a whole new perspective of Ironman matches.
Oh yeah,
and how these guys are doing what they're doing for 60 minutes. Mm-hmm. But as far as, I mean, it really wasn't any different. Dr. Tom coaches the way Dr. Tom coaches. He has, he's figured, I mean, he knew it going in, but he's just going to, like, I'm going to yell. I'm going to yell. I don't mean it personally. If you take it personally, I'm sorry. And he apologizes at the forefront. He's like, but I'm going to yell and get excited. Because this is something I care about. So you're going to get my best. I'm expecting you guys to listen and follow along.
Yeah,
for sure.
And for me, it was just I thrive in a coaching environment. I love coaching. I love being coached. I love getting coaching from other people. And so it was real easy just to shut my mouth and go for it and just do it. Versus we did have some people in our class that had to question everything. And you do that to a guy like Tom Pritchard, and he's just like, it's like, dude, you don't even know what you don't know. Like, so no, it was the adjustment was super, super easy. It was just the cardio was different. It's a different type of cardio. You can go run a marathon. You can get marathon runners in the wrestling ring, and it's different. It's a different thing. So you have to change your strength conditioning programs to match it. You have to go rest. The only way to get in ring shape is to get in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the hardest part, man. Yeah. Honestly, coaching's coaching, especially when you got good ones. And you can see tendencies in the same coaches everywhere you go, especially if they are good. Or you can see tendencies in bad coaches if you get a couple bad eggs in there. But Dr. Tom's the greatest professional wrestling trainer in the world. Yeah. Period, point blank. He's been everywhere. He's done everything short of being a world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, I think it definitely speaks for itself.
Well, yeah, his resume, the people that he trained, the people that was trusted to be trained and further their training through him. He started the developmental program for WWE. Like this guy's, and he's got a book out, and it's book's got all his training that he did with the WWE, and I read it before I went because I was like, I wonder what we're going to get into. And Man in the Middle, 5x5s, all the different little things that he did there, he's doing in this 12-week class. And like yesterday, we ran. There was 5 of us, 6 or maybe 6, and we ran a modified version of his repetition drill. His man in the middle repetition drill. Kind of hybrid. He's been teetering with some stuff lately, and he's getting really crazy with it. This one was the guy in the middle does like 6 minutes with each corner, and I mean it's not 6 minutes worth of holds. It's like you lock up, you're doing this, like you're going through 4 different sequences, and and you're doing mostly every single one with each corner, and but like 6 minutes in each corner, and then by corner 20, like it's 24 minutes, guys, of on it hard, not like, and you're bumping, you're rolling, you're doing everything, and he's not forgiving. Like you guys are paying to be there. If you don't want to be there, don't come. Save your money. If you don't want to be a professional wrestler, don't come. Save your money. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but he is the world's greatest trainer. He'll deny it till the day he dies. But I'd kill for him. So
yeah,
I always definitely doesn't get enough credit.
He doesn't want it. That's the thing. He hates it. He hates being told. He hates people telling him he's the world's greatest, or he hates people saying that stuff. He'd rather just. So normally in podcasts and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, he's at least in the top 3. But that's just because he doesn't want to be said he's the best. But man, like, and I tell people any wrestler I talk to is like, I've only been wrestling. It'll be 3 years in August, and I've been very fortunate to grow up in a wrestling family, and I know kind of the backside of the business, and I know how this stuff works, and I know what we're supposed to do, and I count my blessings every day, and Dr. Tom is one of those blessings, and I try to tell people, like, look, the only reason my career or my skill set or my abilities have progressed so fast, because 3 years is nothing in the grand scheme of things. 3 years back when Doc was training, sure, he was wrestling. He was telling us he says we're robbed of being able to perform every night. Those guys were performing every night when he was broken in. He was also getting the hell beat out of him every training session. Like that's something we're not doing. We're not getting beat up. outside of what we're doing to ourselves, like nobody's beating us up, stretching us, breaking bones, trying to get us out of the business.
Mm.
So like we've got it made, and then but we've also got the short end of the stick where we're not working every night. Maybe once. A lot of people are like once a month. And I was fortunate enough when I started, I wanted to wrestle everywhere, so I was going 3-4 times a week.
Mm.
And I've slowed down since, but like it's just the matter of being trained or getting to work every night is something that we don't have. And I can't remember where I was going with that, but it was going to be good. God, it was going to be good. But
I could see it too.
Yeah.
So he I don't even know what I was saying. I just get caught up on Tom Pritchard and I get real giddy.
Oh, that's fine.
But like the progression of skills in 3 years for me. I mean, I've wrestled probably over 300 or 400 matches at this point. I stopped keeping count, which is bad on my part. But like it's all because of Dr. Tom's 12 weeks.
Mm.
Like 12 weeks with Dr. Tom, you go hit a couple seminars, you continue to learn from vets in the back, or you watch wrestling and you learn stuff, then you go try it with Doc. I've continually trained with Doc for the past 3 years. Like I'm still training with him. It's just our training isn't that basic 12-week program. It's more advanced. It's the man in the middle. It's the repetition drill. It's trying new things. Like I'm trying to perfect my drop kick, boys. I don't know if you've ever seen me throw a drop kick, but I've thrown one and it was a god awful, and I'm not going to throw another one until I perfect it.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, like, if you want to be a professional wrestler and you want to do this right and you want to be good at it, if you've got the slightest athletic ability and you've got the slightest like clue how to listen and make this work for yourself, Tom's the guy to go to.
Okay, cool.
That's it. That's where I was going with it. It wasn't the big revelation. Everybody knows that Dr. Tom's the guy in professional wrestling to go see if you want to get good. So
yeah,
I don't know. I just like talking.
No, it's fine. How involved is Glenn Jacobs in all of that? Because I know it's technically.
During 2020, he wasn't very involved, if you can imagine why.
Yeah.
COVID stuff kept him away, and the political scene that he is in here in Knox. He knows our Knox County mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to run for a higher office. I couldn't tell you. I don't talk to him. We're not friends like that.
Yeah.
I talk to him when he comes in, and he does know me, and I do know him, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick his. I'm not going to pick his. First off, he is my coach,
and
it's not my job to know those things. But he's been around more as of late because we've got a nice little place, and I know he's been at a couple shows, graduation shows, and then when he's there, he's hands on. But it's a matter of just living he's a mayor of Knox County, which he whatever his political beliefs are completely different than the city of Knoxville. The city of Knoxville has a different mayor, and I'm sure he's battling those. He's fighting those battles and whatever. And but when he's there, man, he's on it, and he's always got knowledge to pass along. He'll answer any question you got. He brought in during our class, they were doing the A&E treasures hunt for the Undertaker's original urn.
Okay.
So he brought Undertaker in and won AJ Francis top dollar with the WWE right now. And I got to tangle with him a little bit, but so we got a little bit of coaching from all that while we were there. So when he's there, he's on it. But I get it. It's hard to be around when you're trying to run a county. So
yeah, of course. He's
cool though. Real nice, super nice guy. Also, he's massive.
Oh yeah.
Like legitimately big. And there's a picture of me. I think I put it on social media. It's me, him, and Undertaker. And I've never felt smaller in my entire life. But, no, he's great. I like having him around.
Awesome. So you're kind of doing the run. You're running the ropes 3 to 4 times a week. How does that transition into working with the NWA?
You always hear about paying your dues, right? That's the whole thing. That was professional wrestling. You got in. Dr. Tom got in by taking pictures in Texas.
Yeah.
Like that was as a teenage kid, he was taking pictures. Eventually, gets into it. So, it's about setting the ring up, doing all that stuff. So with the NWA, I always, I've got the body type, and I saw that they were about to take back off, and and they were running a show in Oak Grove, Kentucky. I think it was the first power trip show that they did up there. And I never talked to this guy ever, except for maybe in passing. I'd seen his stuff. I know he's been around. Jeremiah Plunkett. He's now one of my really good friends. I get to see him often, and I'm very thankful for him. But I messaged him out of nowhere and said, "Hey, man," it's like, "Hey, Mr. Plunkett, I'm just looking for a chance. Who would I hit up just to do extra ring crew stuff? Like, I don't wrestling, be damned. Like, I just want to be around. I want to see what the product looks like. I want to be around a bigger product with all these guys." And sure enough, he gave me the contact of the person that was over the ring crew. I hit him up and said, "Hey, I'm not expecting anything. I'll come in, work for free. I just want to be there. I want to see what you guys do for your setup." Because we were running Dad's show, and I like learning and seeing what the high dollar companies are doing and how we can incorporate on a smaller scale with Dad's show to make it successful. But I went in and I had just started growing my mullet. I had recolored my hair back to its original color, away from the blonde. So I did that. I go to Oak Grove, Kentucky, and the ring had already been set up. I know they set it up the night before or whatever, but the ring's set up. We're doing chairs, whatnot. I meet Mark and all the guys that he brings in from Tried and True that are part of their ring crew. And Crimson was there. Crimson was over the ring crew, but I just introduced myself there, and he's a terrifying man. He looks like he hates you all the time. And then he smiles, and you're like, I don't know if you're smiling because you hate me. You're terrified, or we're cool. But Crimson was great, man. He was super nice to me. Mark was great. Mark Rowland was incredible. All the guys met and they're still around. But I mean, I did that, and I went in, and Mark looks at me. They had a spot. I think it was the night Mike Knox returned.
Yeah.
And beat up Trevor in the cage. So, man, they had a spot, and they're like, look, we can already Mark told me, pulled me aside. He said, I would have gladly chosen you for that just because you're big. He said, but they're going to like your size and your look. So we're just going to sit you over here next to the curtain. Make sure, he's like, just make sure nobody peeks back. Because the way the gorilla was set up, one of the curtains didn't go all the way to the end. So I sat out in the crowd next to this curtain to make sure nobody was back there looking, into the gorilla position. So I did that and tore down the ring and apparently worked my tail end off enough to where they invited me to Atlanta. We went down to Atlanta. Same thing. Went down. They got me a room, which was really cool. A room with one of the other guys. They take care of their extra talent in their ring crew, which is incredible. Right. That's how I feel like that's how most big productions do it. And they take care of them, and when it's time, they give you a shot.
Yeah.
So I just worked my tail end off. Ricky Morton was there, and Ricky loves me to death, and I love Ricky to death. George South was there, same deal. I love them both. Ricky took me around and introduced me. I'd already met most people, but Ricky made sure to grab me and take me and introduce me to everybody. Introduced me to Corgan, Pat Kenny, all the agents, Medusa D, all those guys and girls, and I worked. They literally that show grabbed me and put me in the back. They said, "You're too big to run stuff from the ring. We don't have any extra. There's no real security spots. We got this person ringing the bell, this person grabbing gear. Just be in the back if somebody needs something, whatever." And sure enough, that trip is kind of the first interaction I had with the world champion, Trevor Murdoch. I was making runs for him to the gas station, making runs to go get waters, doing that's paying your dues, setting up the ring, setting up the set, making sure everybody's taken care of, bringing in catering, and then, tearing down the ring at the end of it. And then the next go around was back at Oak Grove, Power Trip 2. I don't know. I'd have to see the dates or whatever, but they needed extras. They needed guys in the ring. They had Magic Jake was introducing his new gimmick because he had been Fable Jake. Now he's doing Magic Jake Dumas, and they had a couple a 6-man tag match just for pre-production darks or whatever.
Yeah.
So those are your tryout matches. They usually have a couple matches that there's no crowd. It's just for production to get their stuff right. And then they've got a couple matches in front of the crowd to make sure that we're still, with the crowd noise and everything's good. So I was very fortunate to be in a singles match with Magic Jake, and dude, jobber jacket, had the sweet jobber jacket, had my name across the back. my black and white boots, my red trunks, just 80s wrestler gimmick. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And, I loved it. I just loved going and wrestling. And so, like, we go out there, we have a decent match, it's 6 to 8 minutes. It was easy. Like, and I get in the back, and the agent grabs me and says, "Hey, Pat Kenny and Billy Corgan want to talk to you." I was like, "Oh shit, this is either really good." This has happened multiple times. Like, this is either really good or really bad. So I go in. Pat and Billy are sitting there in production.
Mm-hmm.
Pat does his little thing. He goes, he said, "We like your look." He said, "You did really well out there, this, that, and the other." And he said, "You kind of remind me," and it hit me weird. And I don't know if I've ever told him this, but like I knew what I looked like. He's like, "You kind of remind me of one of those 80s jobber gimmicks, the 80s jobber guys, the enhancement talents." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, except I'm 6'2", 295 pounds, and I'm built like a freaking brick house." But no, I get it. I'm in red trunks, black and white boots, white freaking knee. I know what I look. I look like my dad. And God love my dad. My dad will tell you that's what he did. He was an enhancement talent for the NWA, WCW. That's who I modeled myself after. So they're like, "Well, he's like, "We really like your stuff. We'd like to have you at TV next time we go." Gave him my email, cell phone number, and the rest is history. Like, man, like, and that was the first time I'd ask people. This is what gets me, and it's always funny to see now. Like, I'd ask people, "Hey, do you want to ride with me? I definitely can get us some spots to do some extra work and just help set up, tear down. It's going to be unpaid, but they'll have food, so we'll be taken care. Like, we'll be fine."
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wanted to go with me at the time. Not a soul wanted to go out there. And then I finally started getting reps in NWA, getting on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor and Aaron Stevens and Mike Knox and all these guys that were around were like, "Oh, we like your look, kid. You got a good style. You got this. You got that. You got something. We just have to tap into it." So they were all really hands-on and helping. And man, like Pat and Billy all, and then eventually, came around where I was getting more singles matches and working some tags and doing all that stuff. And then they saw Anthony Andrews and they're like, "Huh, maybe, just maybe." And they, put us together. Billy said, "We'd like to see you in cowboy hats." I said, "Well, that's an easy fix." Now I've got 2, 4, I got like 8 of them.
Yeah.
I put one on. I was like, "Damn, I look good. I'm gonna start doing this."
Yeah.
I walk into a bar. It's like, "What's your story, cowboy?" It's like, "How much time you got, darling?" And that's game over. It's literally a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
So cowboy hat, and that's what again, you guys had Silas Mason on, right?
Yeah.
Silas Mason's one of my. I'll say it. He won't put me over. I'll put him over. He's one of my best friends in the world, especially in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Like this dude, he's like, "Man, like," he said, "Who knew putting a cowboy hat on you would actually bring out some damn personality?" Well, who knew? And then the world's now.
You never know until the cowboy hat comes on.
Yeah.
Right. It's put it on, and they put us in a tag team, and then now I'm one half of the United States Tag Team Champions.
Yeah.
We've defended the belts in 5 different states now, with the pending World as a Vampire tour coming up. That I'm hoping it starts August 1st. I'm hoping and praying, and I've told them, it's like, "Look, if I'm not on this tour, I'm burning the belts." No, I didn't say that, but that's what I thought. It's like I'm burning them alive. But there's like, they've got a ton of dates. I think they've got like 26 to 36 dates.
Wow.
For the Smashing Pumpkins and the people with them, but they've got 20 dates that wrestling's at those shows. And it starts in Utah, it goes up the Pacific Northwest, and it comes all the way back around to Ontario, Canada, and then back down. And randomly we're ending in Franklin, Tennessee, or Noblesville, Indiana, or something.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, especially if it's right there, if it's Noblesville or Franklin, I've got family in Franklin or right outside Franklin that'll pick me up and take me home. I don't have to catch an airplane. So, like, I don't know, man. It's there's a really good chance that we could defend these titles all over the country this summer.
That's awesome.
Pending whatever they've got planned for us at Crockett Cup. I don't think we're defending the titles at Crockett Cup, but they've done. I know there's people that's done other things at Crockett Cup, so it may be a title match or two. But man, it's and that's all that to say. I paid my dues. And I'm still paying dues. I'm still working my dude. I still go and help try to set up with the ring crew. Like it's just I enjoy it. I enjoy the guys that I came in with, and I don't want to be one of those guys that, oh, well, he's got a title now, he's too good to hang out with us kind of guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Right.
not. Dude, I'm a worthless sack of crap. I just like wrestling, and like I've been very fortunate and lucky and blessed, and I've worked my ass off, and I've done it. It's a culmination of everything, guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, so it's just work like I wasn't afraid to dumb myself down, and I say that I wasn't really dumbing myself down. I was nowhere near ready to be a part of that program until I was. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to do security. I was willing to set up the ring. I was willing to tear it down, and then now a lot more people are coming into the NWA. A lot more guys, because I think I was the only one there that was an established worker. If you were like, I was done with training, I was working shows, and so I was an established worker. And now you've got more established workers coming in that are being willing to help out and stuff. And that's great, because that's how the NWA is going to build itself and inevitably become at least the second greatest wrestling promotion in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the pinnacle is always going to be WWE until we get billions and billions of dollars. But it's hard. Like, you can't convince me that the National Wrestling Alliance isn't the number 2 wrestling promotion in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in 3 to 5 years, it'll be, with the talent that we've got right now and the homegrown guys that we're building, I think it would be hard to argue in 3 to 5 years that we're definitely there.
Yeah.
Right.
We're international, baby. we're all over.
Yeah.
So
I would love to talk about the moment you guys won the belt, but I would like to rewind. You mentioned that you did a gas station run for Trevor Murdoch. What does a gas station run for Trevor Murdoch look like?
Just a log of dip, boys. He said, AJ, I need some dip. I was like, I got you, Mr. Murdoch. I'm old enough to go get it. I can do it. I think I might have been the only extra that was old enough to go get him some.
Yeah.
He hands me cash. I run to the gate. He said, get yourself something. It's like, okay. Go get a couple energy drinks, come back, got a couple cans of dip for him. It's like, they didn't have this particular kind, but I know you said this kind was good, so that's what I got. I went to a couple different gas stations. They don't sell that stuff here in Georgia. But no, it was dip runs. Realistically, that's all it was. And then,
that's awesome.
I need a couple energy drinks. Yes, sir. You got it, dude. You got it, Mr. World's Heavyweight Champion Trevor Murdoch. I was just very lucky. The guy owes me nothing. Me absolutely nothing. And since then he's been, like, there's going to come a day where I get to work him one-on-one or in tag matches or whatever, and and I can always look back and be like, well, that was my first interaction with him. It's funny to see where we've gotten to.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, just dip, boys. That's all it was. Dip.
So what is something about Billy Corgan that you think more people should know? Because I feel like he quietly, because he did his deal with Impact, and I was a huge fan of Impact at the time, and I was a real bum when that didn't work out. And he very obviously so pivotal to the NWA's current success and revival and all that. But I feel like a lot of people just aren't aware of how much he's doing with it.
He owns it. He's the number one guy. You know what I mean? So, a lot of I don't know what people don't know he does for. I mean, the guy cares about his talent, and that's huge. And he takes time to talk to each of us. And shit, the last time we talked in Tampa, and I talked to him occasionally here and there, just try to get direction, try to get advice from him, because he does know wrestling.
Yeah.
He's not a professional wrestler. He's not been in the business, but he does know professional wrestling. And hell, in Tampa, we talked about music. We talked about how, like, the World is a Vampire tour is like their stepping stone into becoming one of the like premier rock bands in the world.
Yeah.
And like, because we were talking about like the older generation of rock bands, like the Stones, the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, those guys who are all like performing in their 80s and 90s, and how the Smashing Pumpkins are like one of 6 rock bands, like they're like the generation behind that.
Mm-hmm.
That when those guys stop performing, like Kiss should be done, their farewell tour, or whatever. But like the Smashing Pumpkins move right into that. Like we talk about music, we talk about old wrestling, GCW. It's not that GCW, Georgia Championship Wrestling from back in the day. But man, what people don't know, he's I think selfless, I think is a great way to describe him. There's no, like, he's making plenty of money right now doing the Smashing Pumpkin store. There's no need for him to take professional wrestling with him. But the fact that he's willing, and of course I guess it all benefits him in the end, but he's willing to take I think they've got 7 or 8 dudes and gals over in Australia right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's willing to take people over there and, pay for their transportation and all that good stuff. And allow them to wrestle in front of crowds that we wouldn't draw just based off wrestling alone.
Right.
30 to 60,000 people are at these shows every night. And whether they're wrestling fans or not, they're getting exposed to professional wrestling, and they're getting exposed to Silas Mason. And even Australia, man, like, he's got the Australian guys and girls that are on that tour with him. Like, their lives, I would imagine, are going to change because more people are going to know who they are than ever before, based off of Billy Corgan having wrestling at his concerts.
Yeah.
But no, and he's just, man, he's an overall great dude. He's been really great to me. Just selflessness, and then his willingness. He's got tons of creative ideas, but like all of us, not all of them are diamonds. There's a couple turds in there here every once in a while, I'm sure. I don't talk creative with him, but I know he's a creative dude. He's got tons of ideas. Cowboy hat's a great idea.
Yeah.
AJ Cazana as the United States Tag Team Champion, fantastic idea. But he's got people around him, especially now that have knowledge of professional wrestling, that have been around for 20 to 40 years, and that even then, like, they're not. I've heard stories about Vince McMahon creative meetings from people that have been in them, and podcasts or whatever, and personal stories, where, like, if you said something and he just thought it was dumb, he would just absolutely bury you in front of God and everybody.
Yeah.
It makes you not want to work for him, my opinion. I don't know. I'll work for him right now. I'll take the NWA title, go right now and go defend him on WWE TV. But I know that that's intimidating, but I've never heard anything like that from Billy. Like, if you've got an idea, or if you got a way to tweak one of his ideas to make it make sense or make it better, and you don't, it's about the delivery. But he's got people around him that he's willing to listen to, and that know wrestling, and that know good professional wrestling, and not just what you see all over the country now, not trash bag outlaw mud show stuff. Like, we're talking good pro wrestling that were with the NWA before Vince bought it all. But, I don't know, man. He's just an overall good dude. It's really cool to be able to call him my boss. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're like friends or anything, but I know I can reach out to him and he will respond, and that's huge for me, because like, he does, again, just like Trevor Murdoch, Billy Corgan owes me absolutely nothing, and I owe everything to Billy Corgan. Yeah. Like, he's like, I'm not with the NWA if Billy Corgan doesn't buy it and do all that stuff and believe in me to help bring the NWA forward into the next 100 years or whatever. So it's, again, he's like, I owe him nothing, but I know I can reach out to him right now. Like, I could shoot, probably not right now. I don't know what time it is over there, but I can reach out to him, and eventually he'll get back to me. Yeah. In a timely manner. So that's cool. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. He's an all around good dude. Yeah. I enjoy being around him, and I'm very thankful for him and Pat Kenny and the whole NWA office for even giving me an opportunity to wrestle.
That's awesome. You mentioned working Trevor, and that's like an ambition that you have. Who are some guys that you're looking forward to, whether in NWA or just in the wrestling landscape today, that you'd love to get in the ring with?
In the NWA, it's the Trevor Murdochs, Aaron Stevens, Rodney Mack. I'd love to work with Rodney one-on-one or in a tag match or whatever. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't want to work La Rebellion. The world champ. These titles are, and it not to diminish them at all, but they're just stepping stones to a bigger thing. Our goal is to be world tag team champions. My goal is to be a world heavyweight champion. And I hope and pray, I hope in one hand and poop in the other and see which one fills up faster. But
Yeah.
I mean, those types of guys are the guys that held the title before me. Jack Stain, if I can get him in a singles match, I'd like to work with him. I've worked a couple tag matches with him, so we worked at 3-1-2 together. Man, like and I don't mean that. Of course, I'm going to say it's going to sound the old heads in the locker room, the vets, the guys that have been there and done that, and that can tell you what exactly you can and can't do in the wrestling ring. I'm sorry, I got some congestion going on right now.
Oh, no problem.
But like I'd love to work Silas in an NWA ring. We've worked before. I think we've only had one match ever, singles match, but I'd love to have one in an NWA ring because I think that with the amount of trust that we have in each other, it'll be laid in, it'll look real, it'll look great, it'll sound good, and we'll freaking tear the roof off the place.
Yeah.
That whole locker room, dude, I'd work anybody in that locker room at any time. Like it's a top-notch locker room. But like outside of the NWA, and I have been very vocal about this, because I'm not trying to get a match out of them. I'm trying to pick a fight.
Yeah.
I'm a big money fight. It's the Shell Son of big money fights. I don't pick challenges. I pick fights. The big money fights find me, and like the freaking I'm working my tail end off with FTR. I'm trying to find a way to get the formerly known as the Revival in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Somewhere in this country, even though they're the AEW World Heavyweight Tag Team whatever champions. Like that's one that I'm dying to have somewhere.
Yeah.
But, even Dennis Condrey loves me. Dennis Condrey loves them. And I'm like for the love of Dennis Condrey, let's make this happen. Like, let's put on a wrestling match that rivals some of the stuff that he used to see. Let's have that match. With them and then the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett.
Yeah, great.
I've been pretty vocal with them about that because I got a pretty direct line of contact with them, whereas I don't have it with the Revival, and I just talk smack on Twitter until I inevitably piss off Dax to the point to where he just buries me on his podcast. That's the one. I'm trying to pick a fight with FTR, but I would gladly. The Kingdom would be great to work with.
Really cool.
And then, of course, you got your top guy, like freaking. Right now, I don't know what his contract looks like with the WWE, but the New Age Outlaws are still alive and kicking.
Yeah.
And if they want it, they can get it.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Gunn's in great shape. Road Dogg's in shape. And I want to walk out to the ring after I hear the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, the whole spiel.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I've gotten the opportunity to work with the Tate twins. I like the design, Cody Deaner, Big Con. I like those guys. I'd like to work them, man. There's big dude. I want to wrestle the top guys.
Yeah.
In each promotion. I don't even know who the world tag team champions are in Impact right now, but I'll work them.
I think it's Chris Bay and Ace Austin.
Yeah, they can get it too. I've been talking smack to Jason Hotch and John Schuyler.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
And I got personal contacts that know those guys, and I'm like, look, dude, let's make it happen. Like, I'll work Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Freaking the MLW tag team champions, Juicy and God, I can't remember his partner's name for the life of me. He's not it's not Jacob Fatu. It's the I don't know. But I just want to work. Dude, I got a freaking belt right here. Let's put belts on the line. Let's go after it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Dude, I just want to wrestle, man.
Yeah.
Anybody, everybody, but specifically FTR. They can get the smoke.
I will tell you that Dax's mom follows us on Twitter.
Mrs. Dax Harwood's mom, tell your son to answer my phone call. I want the smoke. I'm just look, dude. I'm just afraid that they don't want to step in the ring because I'm a legitimate 6'2", and I may or may not have lifts on my boots. I dwarf a lot of people when I stand in the ring, and I apologize for that.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be top guys, and I want to test my merit and my talent with the top guy.
Yeah.
I want the freaking best the world has to offer. Hell, dude, I'll wrestle the Young Bucks if they want some. You know, they don't think they can get their leg up this high to super kick me, so I think it'll be okay. Especially in their tight jeans and their Jordans. But I don't know, man. They just all – I get it. They're world stars. They don't have to lower themselves to old measly internet stars like AJ Cazana. But
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I know how good I am, boys. Like, I know I could freaking – yeah. They look at, NWA. I'm just sitting here thinking, you just wait, because there's going to be a moment where you guys are either going to be in the NWA locker room with us at one of these Crockett Cup events, or AJ Cazana signs a big contract somewhere, and you got no choice but to stand across from me in a wrestling ring. That's the goal.
Yeah.
I just want to wrestle and talk a lot of smack while I do it.
Yes.
Drink a beer or two, eat some biscuits and gravy, call it a day.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Awesome. And then the question we always ask is, who are some guys that you think more people should know about, whether in NWA or locally?
Ooh, I mean, NWA is doing a good job right now. Silas is always one of those. Silas allegedly broke his femur, and coming back from that, I had one goal because I love the man like a brother, and my one goal is to get him in front of the NWA crowd, the office. Yeah. It's like, dude, you got something, and you're like, he's good. Before I got into wrestling, I was a big Mason Dixon Line fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Silas, I know Devin. I've known them since 2017, 2016, whenever, they were wrestling in Knoxville. And Silas Mason's one of them. If you don't know Silas, you better figure it out and find out who he is.
Yeah.
You may not agree with everything that is going on in Silas's life, but Silas is a great dude all around. He's a great professional wrestler. He can talk on the mic. He can run you into the ground. He cuts you up, have a good time. And he's highly motivated. He's my favorite workout partner I've got.
Yeah. Because
when I don't feel like doing 50 burpees at the end of a set, he slaps me in the back of the head and says, "Hey, stupid, you want to be a champion?" I'm like, well, I got
that'll do it.
I was like, I am. He's like, well, then act like it, asshole. Silas, Joe Alonzo is one of those guys that I think is an unsung hero right now of the NWA. Trying to think of that. Like, if you don't know Jeremiah Plunkett, you better. As far as somebody that's considered a journeyman of professional wrestling, somebody who's done it all. Great talent in the ring, great person out of the ring. Alex Taylor's there, the Ill Begotten boys. My roommate, I wish he would get off his hind end. I think he's still in bed. I live with Gustavo Aguilar. We're really close friends. I don't know if you guys know Gustavo.
Yeah, he works a lot with AML.
He does. Yeah, AML. He works Dad's Joe, JCP. He works all over
quite a bit.
And he's coming into his own, man. Like, dude, I've heard some big pops in my day. Like, in my day. Whatever.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm 20 years into this shit. I've heard some big pops, and I've been around, and he gets them, and people like it. And I think more people across the nation should know about him. And, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So, trying to think of some North Carolina guys that are really, really over top. Dude, in our locker room alone at Dad's show, like, we got Silas, we got Gustavo, Axton Ray is one of those guys that's out of this world athletic. Like, it's ridiculous how athletic he is. He's a good one to have around. The Stu crew are young, up and coming guys that have been around 2 years. That I'm hoping they find their way into the Crockett Cup. Legitimate brothers. Zach Stewart, again, this is a University of Tennessee football thing. Zach Stewart was, if I'm not mistaken, the #1 lineman in our state here in Tennessee coming out of high school. Went to the University of Tennessee on a scholarship.
Yeah.
Family tragedy struck, and he went home. You know, he chose family over football. His brother graduated high school. Dylan, Zach's 6'5", 6'6", thinking that he's about 320, 330 right now. Starting to cut up and look pretty good. Dylan's the little brother who stands at 6'2", weighs about 230. So, like, Dylan's the little one, but he's still my size, just not as thick. And those guys have a bright future, and they're getting out there more, and they've been in South Carolina. I'm trying to get them to North Carolina. They can go with me anywhere they want to go because I know that they're going to run good matches, safe matches, and get over and do what they need to do. More people need to know about them. Rolando Perez, I feel like that's one that people need to know about, but they probably already know about him. So, you know, I mean, anybody that we're booking on Dad's show is somebody that if the country doesn't know about them, they need to.
Okay.
Kenzie Page, Kylie Page, Roxy, Devin Dixon again has had a shoulder injury that he's been bugged with for a while, but he's getting back. He's almost full health again, and the dude's just got that old school. He's got a great freaking mullet for one. He's got a shooter background. His brother. So when he hurt his shoulder, I don't know what he had somebody in, I guess, a rear naked. The guy dislocated his shoulder. He wrapped his other arm around him and choked him out with one hand. Cage fight. Wins the match. The referee goes to raise his left hand. He says, He looks over in his corner. He says, "It's F." He said, I'm bucked.
Yeah.
And he's like, his shoulders like droop down. So I know, like, he's a bad dude.
Oh, yeah.
Mason Dixon's a great tag team. And so, like, Devin's one of those. I mean, just you can go look at our roster and you can be like, okay, these guys could make it anywhere. I'm trying to think of some other guys that I've met along the way that, and there's so much wrestling right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially at the highest level, dude, like AEW, WWE, Impact, I guess, and NWA, like that's just in the States.
Yeah.
MLW has a pretty great roster. Like, there's so much wrestling that you guys can go watch, and then there's some of these guys that are on the local scenes that are making towns and stuff that. And I'm not talking about your 40-miler guys. I'm talking Action Ray's going from Bristol, Tennessee, up to New Jersey to wrestle for GCW, and then coming back and going to Miami or Tampa or Orlando, wherever, and running AEW shows. And then coming back and working for us, and then going and putting his own shows out in Middle Tennessee, and going to North Carolina and working for us. So, like, we've got, like, those are the guys that on our roster that have talent that need to be known, like, need to be seen. Yeah. People need to know who they are, and you know, you have to be a diehard wrestling fan to watch that much wrestling. Yeah, like, especially the independent scene, because there's so much trash bagging independent wrestling going on, especially in East Tennessee. There's about 4 or 5 decent promotions in East Tennessee. There's a couple in Middle Tennessee that, like, but the rest of them, it's if you can buy a ring, baby, you can run a show. And then they dress in their pajamas and act like they want to work. You know, you can't. Just innovate professional wrestling, Imperial Pro Wrestling, JCP, Joe Cazana Promotions, Pile Driver Pro, SPCW here in La Follette. Like that, I really started out like those are 5 pretty good professional. TWE's got some good moments down there in Chattanooga with Jay Newman. Like Derek Neal's down there. Derek Neal's a top-notch star that needs to be known. I know Manders is known out there, and you got Big Beef, Garvin, whatever his name is, out there. That's like there's some guys that they bring in, but man, when you go to a professional wrestling show and you see people, if you're sitting in the crowd and you see people that are in the ring dressed like you, it kind of diminishes diminishing returns. I don't know what you would call it. Yeah. There's no reason you should be wrestling in shorts and a t-shirt. Well, Kevin Owens does it. Kevin Owens is also with the Fed. That was one of the things. My first outfit when I wrestled. I say outfit. My first gear set: cut off t-shirt, fight shorts, boxing boots, like custom. Everything was custom except the boots. And Dr. Tom was like, "Yeah, that's what you're wrestling in." This is when I first got there. He's like, "That's what you're wearing." It's like, "Yes, sir." You know. Kevin Owens, I saw Kevin Owens in it, but so are you comparing yourself to Kevin Owens? And it's like, no. And then, so, yeah, no. But those guys, any guys that are on those 5 shows here in East Tennessee especially,
Yeah.
there's a lot of great guys in North Carolina, man, dude. The scene, there's so many great wrestlers out there. It's just, I feel like independent wrestling's kind of ransacked with bad independent wrestling. And you see a show like it. This is my soapbox moment, boys.
Yeah. Of
When
course.
you see professional wrestling on the marquee, anybody's advertising pro wrestling, you see they never think, they never think, oh, these guys are good. It's always their thought process always goes to the bad.
Mhm.
It's the worst case that it possibly can. Is what it goes to when they just see regular pro wrestling on the marquee or the poster, unless there's a big couple W's there or NWA or AEW, unless there's one of those shows coming into town, and it's just like, oh, professional wrestling tonight at the National Guard Armory. And it could be a great show, but you always think of those backyarders that
Mhm.
that are just not trained. That you're like, oh, well, then I don't want to go. So if it's not one of the big companies, the people aren't as tempted to go out unless you bring those names in from the big companies. And having a big where am I? A big NWA logo next to your name gives the show a little credibility.
Mhm.
But I don't know, man. I just wish wrestling was good all around, and I didn't have to talk about bad wrestling promotions.
Yeah.
I guess I don't really have to, but it just irks me.
We're-
Because one of my friends that I talked about at the top of the hour, like James Logan, he's like, he came to one of Dad's shows. He's like, man, that was really good. He's like, I was just expecting like a couple belly bumping plumbers.
Mhm.
His exact
Yeah.
words. Like, he's like, I just assumed you guys had like a bunch of belly bumping plumbers coming out here and just doing whatever. He's like, I didn't know it was going to be like actual pro wrestling. It's like, yeah, we try sometimes. But no, man, there's so many good wrestlers out there. It's hard to, it's hard. It's not hard to be seen if you can get over on social media now, but
Yeah.
man, like there's just so much wrestling content that you can kind of get annoyed by it. Hell,
Yeah.
I get annoyed by it. But no, I don't know. I was talking. I don't know where I went with that, but I went somewhere.
Yeah, you went the right way.
Went a way.
Christian, do you have your go-to question?
Yes. What is that cheat meal looking like?
Have you seen me? You think I've got not cheat meals? Everything is a cheat meal. Usually, though, to go to is a large, hot and ready Little Caesars pizza and some crazy bread.
Yeah.
And that's it. And, I find myself in some moments where I can't live without ice cream, so I eat ice cream sometimes. But no, dude, my diet's pretty straightforward. It's just chicken and green beans. The occasional, I'll have a hamburger every once, just a burger, a half-pound Angus patty, But then, yeah, if I'm feeling it and I'm just like, to hell with it, I'm going to eat. It's usually Little Caesars hot and ready, $5 grab and go, $6 grab and go, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
And crazy bread, cheesy jalapeno sauce. Can't forget that.
That's awesome.
Guilty pleasures here at the house are popcorn, and cereal randomly at midnight.
Is there a go-to cereal?
For me, it's usually like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Waffle Crisp.
Nice.
I've been on a real Fruit Loop kick.
Yeah, Fruit Loop's good.
Lately, it was the corn pops. I think is what they are. I don't know. I just eat them. They're really good.
Awesome, man. We really appreciate your time. We'd love to have you back on. Hopefully, when you got that 10 pounds of gold around your waist.
I hope so. We got to get through the Crockett Cup first.
Yeah,
So,
I think we're probably going to make it out there. We just saw that it was announced for Winston-Salem, so we're excited
June
about
3rd
that.
and 4th, Winston-Salem, some annex out there or something.
Awesome.
And we'll be there. Probably. This isn't confirmed yet, but probably a couple of days of TV tapings after. It's gonna be a long weekend, but do the freaking Crockett Cup. I'm winning that son of a bitch, and I'm drinking beer out of it. That's how it's happening.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, make it on out to the Crockett Cup. If you guys ever want to come into Tennessee, we have a show. Dad show's May 19th. In Harriman, Tennessee. It's called Harriman Heat for Joe Cazana Promotions. It's a fundraiser for the Harriman Athletic Department.
Oh, cool.
And the card is absolutely freaking stacked. We're working on getting one more person. We got Ron Fuller coming in. Dr. Tom will be there. I'm trying to think of who. We got one Glenn Jacobs coming in to do some VIP meet and greets. And then, the normal, I say normal, the regularly scheduled talent that we have. And then should be a good show. Big
Awesome.
one.
Awesome.
All right. Very
Don't
cool.
forget, go get your stuff. Go get your AJ Cazana stuff. Bullhead Ranch shirts. I got
And where can we
red on
find this
red
shirt?
like the Chicago Bulls, baby. I got a Tasmanian Devil shirt. It's real cool. Got some little brutes coming out, the little pillow pets.
Awesome.
They're trying, man. Got to make some
3D
money
printing.
somehow.
Yeah.
And 3D printing.
And then I got 3D printing. Yeah, I'm about to get some branding irons designed and made up. And
That's awesome.
you can't like heat them and brand people with them because they're plastic. But
Yeah.
they'd be cool to have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh man, angrylemonade.net for all your AJ Cazana needs.
AngryLemonade.net. Awesome.
Be on the lookout for my OnlyFans starting. Just kidding, I can't do that. I'm not gonna say I'm not built for OnlyFans, so
Awesome.
that's all I got, boys.
I think you need a T-shirt that says that, not built for OnlyFans.
It may have to happen.
Coming soon to Angry Lemonade.
Keep me off OnlyFans. Buy this. Literally, it just says keep me off OnlyFans. Buy this shirt.
Yeah. $5 a month keeps me from posting stuff on Twitter that you don't want to see.
Right.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you, and we'd love to have you back on sometime. And sorry for the
Anytime, boys. I
technical
really
difficulties.
appreciate you. You're fine. I just appreciate y'all letting me ramble off and do nonsense.
Absolutely, man.
That's kind of our gimmick.
Apparently, I just get on a tangent and just start talking and don't know when to shut up.
No, it's completely fine.
Awesome, man. Thank you so
guys.
much.